Flooding, often described as the second most recurrent hazard affecting most countries after the epidemics. It results in the loss of lives and properties among residents where it occurs, and Nigeria is no exception. In Nigeria, the situation is said to have resulted from failures of water control structures such as dams, shore protection, sand filling, and land reclamation. However, there is a growing worldwide movement to tackle climate change and decarbonize our ecosystem.
The people at great risk naturally are the people along the Nigeria's 850-something kilometer coastline. So you have coastal inundation, you have the polar ice melting. Remember, global average increase in global temperature, right? So it's melting the ice, and this is melting and now pouring into the sea and ocean. So the thing, the water body is it's one, right? It's one. So streams, rivers flow into these, and all of those is connecting. So when you have that, you have accelerated sea level rise, and you have coastal inundation. So a lot of communities, some communities have been displaced or have been displaced in the Niger Delta as we speak, and nobody is even talking about them.
If you have regions that you have rising ocean levels combined with rainfall, and you realize that these people are already living beside the wetlands, their place is wet already, and this rain comes on top of it and sea rise. I mean, you don't need a scientist to tell you what the consequences are. Naturally, there are places if you come to the Sahel region, where you have the Yobe State, and all that, when the flood comes, it's a momentary event. It just happens and it goes. There are places the flood comes, for months, the water is still there because the environment has lost that capacity to absorb. Some of the flooding that comes through natural means, for instance, if there is a high level of rainfall, I don't know what you're going to do to stop rain from falling. But as human beings, you should know that it's very important to plant trees. See what I mean? You plant trees, and those who design estates where they live should make sure that the drainage system is well constructed.
The general annual flood outlook for 2022, predicted by the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, shows that 233 local government areas in 32 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory fall within the highly probable flood risk areas, while 212 local government areas in 36 states of the Federation and the FCT fall within the moderately probable flood risk areas.
There is supposed to be flood emergency management plan. What that means is very simple. Since flood is like an annual event that we are having, and whenever flood occurs, there are multiple individuals that are supposed to come and play a part. Media, they are supposed to come, at least educate this is happening. Projections have been made. We are going to likely have this in Abuja in the next 48 hours. Media, they have a role to play. Individuals, we have a role to play. There are certain actions we are supposed to take when the flood is coming. The government, there are actions that they are supposed to take. Non-governmental organizations, there are actions that they are supposed to take. For instance, development partners, there are actions they are supposed to take. So in emergency response plan, you try to identify the responsibilities and obligations of individuals, and you now come up with a sort of allocation of responsibilities, so that you are now putting up a challenge to the various stakeholders.
Just as the rest of the world continues to battle the issue of floods and rising seas yearly, it is obvious that flooding disasters need to be factored into the country's economic outlook and development.